happy Workout Wednesday. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Coach Angela. I am coming to you from my patio in Southern California because the sun is about to come out and it's a gorgeous day. And today we're talking about running, so I figured I'd be outside for it. Okay, so as I mentioned, we are talking this week about running or walking. So I don't want anyone to feel intimidated if running doesn't feel good to you right now and walking is accessible, then all of these things can easily translate into a power walk and or a jog or a run. Okay, so let's get started. Why we should be walking or running or just getting outside in general. So walking, running helps improve our mental and physical health. I think we've all experienced that. Walking just from indoors to the outdoors and moving our bodies makes us feel happier and healthier, helps reduce stress, improves our heart health, alleviates symptoms of depression, and improves our bone density, which is really huge for us as women. So we want to avoid osteoporosis as much as possible. And similar to plyometrics, that impact on our joints is what helps increase that bone density and gives us lifelong, strong, and healthy bones. Okay, so now let's talk a little bit about how we should be running. The first and very important key is to have good running shoes. Now, these are my running shoes that I've had for a very long time, which is not a good lesson to be sharing with you, but it's the truth. They're so comfortable, and I have been refusing to get a new pair because it seems like a hassle, and also we've been in quarantine for 2 months. But my cross training shoes are extremely flat and have minimal support in my arches, but are very good for stabilization. They do not translate well to running. So if I run in my cross training shoes, I get shin splints, my calves hurt, my distance is much shorter, and my speed and efficiency is much reduced. So having a really good pair of running shoes is a great place to start. And also sports bra. Okay, we all know that when we're running, if it's uncomfortable, we're not going to want to do it. So if you feel like the weight on your chest is something that is preventing you from running because of the movement, then invest in a good sports bra. Okay, we've actually recently got a blog on our website about how to choose the perfect sports bra for you. I will try to link that in the lesson here so you guys can check that out and hopefully order or even go in stores if that's an option at that time to pick one out. Okay, so when we're running, I want you to think about, we are running forward, but you shouldn't be leaning into that run. We really want to maintain that center of gravity and keep the shoulders over the hips and the hips over the ankles. So eyes and the whole body is striding forward. We're not leaning back, and we're not leaning forward into that run and kind of stumbling. Shoulders roll down and back. We engage the lats and squeeze the shoulder blades behind us. Knit the rib cage in by activating the core. Then we're gonna hold 2 ripe avocados in our hands. So we're not clenching and we're not just letting them flop side to side because we wanna improve the efficiency, and we've got somewhere to be, right? We're not just out there like lollygagging. We've got a real firm distance or time or need to run in mind. So do it with intention. Grab your ripe avocados, and then we're gonna be putting those ripe avocados into our pockets. So a lot of times you might notice that you run across your body and you're just kind of cutting into your efficiency here. You want to be moving forward, not side to side. So think about keeping those elbows by your side and really over exaggerating the elbows back, okay? The more movement we can get in the upper body, and you'll notice this when you do hills, if you really drive forward with your arms, you're going to improve the speed that you can tackle that hill. Same when we're just running regularly. If we've got shoulders hunched and we're running like this and side across the body, the efficiency is much reduced. So sit up tall, shoulders down and back, hold your avocados and put them in your pockets and really move those arms to keep your speed. Then we're going to be taking the feet, and you may notice that you're like an overstrider. We're going to get to that when we talk about cadence. But when we are traveling forward, you want to keep your feet underneath those hips, okay? So this is where we're going to talk a little bit about cadence. So cadence, the whole point of finding out our cadence is that it's just going to give us a starting point. There's no right or wrong cadence in a runner, okay? You'll notice that as you become more efficient, your cadence becomes faster, which is great because it's easy to track and easy to note. But just determining your initial starting cadence is going to help us figure out where you might be able to improve your stride and improve your efficiency. Okay, so if you have a low cadence, and average, we want to be shooting between 160 to 170 strides per minute. Okay, so that's kind of like the average. Now, if you're falling below that average, you may be a victim of overstriding, meaning that you're reaching out with those legs as you're running and really cutting into that cadence and that efficiency. And you may notice you fatigue much faster, or your distance that you're going to travel feels much more challenging, or you don't ever achieve it because you fatigue before you can even get there. Okay, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna set a timer for 30 seconds, and I want you to just count the left leg. We're gonna be just jogging in place, okay? So we're just gonna be starting out, getting this initial cadence together, and then I'll send you off on your own. So for 30 seconds, we're just gonna count the left. Get set in 3, 2, and go. Keep it going. And stop. Okay, so hopefully you got your number, which if you're anything like me, I was like double counting. So do it again. Just count the left side, 30 seconds. Okay, now we're gonna times that number. So let's say I got 60, times it by 2, okay? Or excuse me, 30. I got 30 in 30 seconds. I'm gonna times it by 2, that's 60, okay? So that's how many strides my left leg was taking in 1 minute. Now times that 60 by 2, so we can include the right leg, that's 120, okay? So if that was my average cadence, I'm much below average, and I wanna improve and increase that cadence time to get to 160 or 170. Now how you're gonna do that is what's called turnover. So moving the feet quickly, keeping them underneath your body, but doing your turnover nice and fast, okay? So our challenge for this week is to run 1 mile, run or walk. You're gonna mark out 1,600 meters, either using Map My Run, if you've got a loop in your neighborhood, Google Earth, whatever works for you. Find a 1 mile distance or a 400 meter distance that you can do 4 times, and you're gonna time yourself. So let's just see how long that 1 mile takes you. You can track your cadence every minute. So if we've set that average, you can work minute over minute to maintain that cadence. That's a really helpful starting point. So when you go and you have your mile marked out, time yourself every minute on the minute, just count over and over and over and over. So you can determine that cadence and get into your stride. Then once we determine that week 1 mile time, we're gonna work on improving that mile time over the next 2 weeks, because we're gonna be doing this in week 2. So we're gonna be working on improving that mile time and your cadence over the next 2 weeks. Now, our cadence is determined by your running history, your running ability, and your anatomy. So it's not just something that, you know, you're born with and you're gonna stick with forever. So you can really work on improving that cadence with coordination work, strength work, agility work, and practice, okay? So I hope that was helpful. Let's figure out your cadence first to start just by jogging in place. Then you're gonna do that again, 30 seconds, running, okay? Figure out your cadence, running, not just standing in place. Hopefully they line up slightly or are close together, because we've kept the feet under the hips while we're jogging in place, and the feet should stay under the hips while we're running. So find that initial cadence, and then you're gonna do your very first mile time. Note it in your metrics. We'll do it again in week 3 and again in week 4. All right, you guys, happy running. I'll see you back here next week for push-ups.